Hi, it's unboxing time. It's my new EEVblog multimeter prototypes, and you may have seen these two in a previous video. These are this is the last. I've got three of them. This is the last real one, and this is the original 3D printed prototype. That's not plastic. That's actually all 3D printed. So I thought we'd have a quick squiz at. Ta-da! They've sent me two new ones now. You may remember that this one used the microchip PIC 24F series chip, and there was a bit of to do. They wanted to change the processor. I won't go into details why. Anyway, the choice was a PIC 32 or an ST ARM Micro. So I chose the ST ARM Micro. I found a suitable ST ARM Micro for them, and they've used it, and in record time they respun this. So they completely changed everything, the processor, the whole works, added the SD card in the battery compartment supposedly, and they respun it in, I can't remember the exact dates, but it was like like a month and a half or something. It was like, yeah, it was, I think it was less than 2 months. It was just crazy. Anyway, let's have a look. Ta-da! I have a note, which I will read separately. What is it? Anyway, they have sent additional firmware. Oh, hang on. Hang on. Hang on. I'll show you this. Ta-da! It's the EEVblog multimeter. This is the cow sheet for it. Anyway, they sent me like the calibration procedure, and they've sent me some updated firmware. There were some issues with the original one they sent, so these ones will actually have a few issues. So let's have a look. And it is not completely finished. Once again, it is still a prototype. So ta-da! Here it is. They, yeah, I told them to move the ETL certification marking to the back. Sorry, I'm shooting this on my other bench. The light probably isn't fantastic. Yeah, the shadows are terrible here. Lights coming down like this. Anyway, yeah, I told them to put those to the back, and the Cat3 600 volt to the back, or to get rid of the Cat3 600 volts, and put true RMS there. I think they haven't actually, they said they deliberately didn't do that for some reason. Anyway, the final one will have it. So here it is. Let's switch it on, and it's going to work. Well, let's actually compare the two. Let's switch the two on. Here we go. Oh. Yeah, very similar. You could say maybe slightly faster, not sure. Anyway, oh, big difference in the temperature readings there, isn't there? Whether or not the temperature will be there by default, I'm not sure. So it's probably, yeah, this new one is out. 19.8. Anyway, I think they sent me an email with some temperature calibration routine or something. So it hasn't been, I don't think it's been done. But yeah, it's basically the same. They haven't changed the LCD, they haven't changed the switches or anything, but the processor inside has changed, and presumably BAT 6.4 volts, power on, automated power on 2016. What's that? Date? Anyway, it's, yeah, date and, yep, date and time, because it's now got data logging capability. It's got a real-time clock in it, whereas the old one didn't have a real-time clock, and it should have a... Now, one problem I have with this damn thing is I still have an issue with this. The holster. The holster is ridiculously hard to get off, and obviously I'm a complete dummy, and I haven't figured out how to do it properly yet, and it's really bugging me. I should have told them about that. Oh, anyway, range switch. It's still a bit, how you doing? It's not as tight. It's not as loosey-goosey as the old one, but it's still, it's soft and spongy. It probably isn't as good as I would like, so have to work on that, but come on. There we go. No, and there's a lip. There's like, once you get it to there, then there's another annoying lip to... Anyway, yeah, it's just the thickness of the thing, and possibly the design of the holster as well, but Yeah, it's the most frustrating thing about this meter. And it's got to, unless I'm doing it wrong, it's got to change. It's just crazy. Anyway, got it. All right. I should have had a screwdriver, but luckily I got one in my pocket. Here we go. Nothing's changed on the back. Yes, made in Korea. South Korea, that is. And none of this North Korea rubbish. And let's have a look to see one of the things they added was, of course, the SD card. There it is. I told them. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? I told them to put that SD card in there, and I gave them a data sheet for a typical, like a vertical. They were hard to get, I think, the vertical SD card socket, but it's there. So there it is. There's the SD card that you can use not only for data login, but for firmware update as well. So they've done, I believe they've done away with the firmware update over Bluetooth, because I think putting on an SD card and whacking it in there is a much more reliable solution than dicking around with Bluetooth. Anyway, it still has Bluetooth in it with the Bluetooth capability and stuff like that. But yeah, there you go. That is great. And it just so happened to fit in there because they didn't want to change the molding of the case, of course, because that's a huge deal. But it just so happened. Sometimes you get lucky that it fits in there perfectly, and it's going to almost to the point, there's like 0.5 millimeter in that. So the SD card can't actually slip out. It's naturally going to be kept in there. I don't think they have to add, like any sponge or anything on there, although I guess you could if if you had to, if you found it was an issue. But wow, that was a real win. I was very impressed by the SD card and micro SD card and how that did it. Anyway, it has the new ST micro in it, and they respun the thing completely from scratch, which was absolutely amazing. It was absolutely amazing. And that's quite slow. The auto ranging and continuity. Hang on. That's the capacitance. Oh, hang on. I think the capacitance has changed. Why is it 10 puff resolution? The old one was 1 puff. I'm sure it was. Yeah, that's changed. Not happy with that. All right. Maybe that's just a software thing. Perhaps. Micro. No. Nope, that's it. Wow. That's really surprising. Anyway, let's go to, there we go, there's a continuity. Yep, that's like super quick, latched, no worries whatsoever. Maybe I might get the optional backlight to flash or something like that with the continuity. Not too fussed over that, although that's a nice feature of the BM235 is the backlight flashing. I like that. So, but that's, it's software. I mean, the whole idea is to get the hardware done and, hopefully in a good enough state that, we can work from that. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, but all that setup just goes through there. The setup. Oh, it's flashing. I don't know. I don't know how they've done the setup. I think they gave me a document or something. I haven't really looked at it. The backlight on. Backlight off. Yep. No worries. And the other thing would be the, here we go, diode test range. And now we've got 15 volt diode test mode. It didn't work properly in there. It was only giving out like 7 volts or something. So there's a selectable 3 volt and 15 volt mode. So we'll actually see if that works. Let's actually measure the open circuit output voltage of this puppy. I've got some Zener diodes over there I could test, but I'd have to find them. Didn't really get ready for this video. So let's, no, there you go. It's supposed to be 15 volt capable. It's only 9 volt capable. So, what's going on there? Anyway, if we change our range, 3 volts, it's actually 3.2. That could change with the battery voltage. No, it shouldn't. No, I think it comes from the regulated supply. Anyway, so yeah, that's fine. So even that mode will do white LEDs and stuff like that. And but yeah, the 15-volt mode doesn't give you 15 volts. That's like, it's silk screened on the front, 15-volt diode capability, you know. I don't know why. Anyway, we'll have to get back to that. And but it works. I can't believe it. That they respun it so quickly. Absolutely phenomenal. That is really, really remarkable how quickly they spun that with an entirely new processor from scratch. They moved from the PIC 24F over to the STM ARM 151 something or other. Anyway, it's the one with the combined LCD driver in it and everything else, so they didn't need a separate LCD driver chipset. But yeah, beauty. Anyway, that's the new prototype. I got 2 of them, and they say that the firmware update does work, so it's got like a bootloader thing in there. So presumably you can't screw up the firmware update. It's just, you know, not possible. The bootloader in there will read the SD card. It's got the file format stuff, and it should work. But anyway, that won't be in this video. I just wanted to show you that. Yep, 50 baseline. Yes, we can zero that out. Anyway. Wait, there's one thing I forgot to check with this meter, the current consumption. I won't bother getting the microcurrent out and stuff like that. I just want to get a quick indication of what this puppy is going to take. Ballpark. 5 milliamps, 4.5. Excellent. That is better. That is better than the previous one, which drew like 8 or something like that. So that's, yep, that's excellent. 4.5 odd milliamps for what mode was it on? Yeah, just on voltage test mode there. So excellent. 4.5, that should give quite a decent battery life on 4 AA's. What, a couple of 100 hours at least. Yep, so that should be okay. Might be able to tweak that. You know, I don't know if they, because these prototypes, they sent me, even the latest one before, did not have the Bluetooth module or anything like that. But oh, by the way, this one now has a true RMS converter chip in it, whereas the previous one didn't have a true RMS converter chip. They ended up renegotiating the price with me on that one. They charged me a bit more because of the extra stuff we've now got in it. Anyway, so increasing my base cost even more. But this one now has true RMS. I'm not sure what the bandwidth is, but there's a true RMS converter chip in there, whereas before it was done in the front-end chipset. And it still uses the same front-end chipset. And that's where, like, I think it's like 3.5 milliamps or something for the front-end chipset. That's where, you know, most of the current consumption comes from. So the micro's only taken like a milliamp or so. So that's kind of what you'd expect, I think. So excellent. Excellent. I like it. Anyway, it's real. It's real. And by the way, if you're wondering, it's not costing me anything to develop this. There's no money out of my pocket. They are the ones paying for all the development and all the prototyping of this. But yeah, I've just been impressed with their speed of being able to do stuff. And the first prototype being a 3D printed one, 3D printed everything, was just thoroughly impressive. Anyway, so yeah, it remains to be seen to iron out all the little issues with it and stuff like that, because I'm sure there's going to be a lot. There's going to be a lot of issues. And hey, as I said before, the BM235, this thing took almost 2 years to get to market, and it still had issues. You know, I found a couple of firmware issues in the thing, and it's like, or you know, or various customers have, and yeah, it took a long time to get this, and this is a much more complicated meter. So yeah, it just takes time, these things, if you want to do it right, if you don't want to rush it to market. So anyway, as I've said before, it's not going to be the perfect multimeter, because I can't go, because I'm not paying for them to develop this, so I can't get the whip out and go, whoosh, change this, fix, you know, tweak this, you know, like, I don't want to do that, because I'm not paying for it. They're graciously paying for it, hoping that they'll get a payback with an exclusive deal with me for promoting and selling this. So that's the plan anyway. So they're taking a lot of risks. They've put a lot of engineering resources into this, and it really hasn't cost me a cent. So yeah, can't complain. Anyway, it won't be perfect, but it should be a nice meter with, it's got the low burden voltage. It's got basically my microcurrent built in, not quite. It's got the same max 4238 in there. I use 4239, they got a 4238, I think it is. So it's getting similar low burden voltage capability, but doesn't go down to quite the low currents. And it's got the 15 volt diode test range, which should be handy. And it's got SD card login. It's got Bluetooth. So, there's not a meter on the market that has a similar feature set, I don't think. So it should come in at a reasonable price, I hope. I'll just show you quickly inside the top part of this. Yes, we do have some bodge wires here. That's where the Bluetooth module is supposed to go, and yeah, it's still not fitted. Anyway, that's the serial interface for the for the Bluetooth module, and of course it's an off-the-shelf one because it's already pre-certified and all that sort of stuff. It's just much easier to do that. And of course the header up there for if you want to access the STM micro directly. So there you go. Yeah, I count 3 mod wires in here at least. So yeah, it's certainly not going to be the final production unit.